The seemingly unending battle of wits between Nigeria's top two political parties took an interesting turn over the weekend when governors of the All Progressives Congress paid a courtesy visit to former president and top-notcher of the People's Democratic Party, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. It was a rather unusual visit, the type of which has become few and far between in the current murky waters of Nigerian politics, though this visit came on the eve of the former president's 63rd birthday and therefore could have been harmlessly seen in that light. It has, in contrast, generated a headsteam of speculations and permutations in the polity regarding the true situation of things. Is the former president contemplating defection to the ruling party ahead of a possible second shot at the highest political office in the land? Of all the possible options available to it ahead of the 2023 presidential election, why should APC consider Dr. Goodluck Jonathan? Are analysts reading the political barometer the wrong way? Was that visit simply overrated? We're now being joined by Osita Okechukwu, Director General of Voice of Nigeria, member and key stakeholder of the All Progressives Congress. We'll also take him up on the party's extension of the mandate of its Interim Management Committee, headed by Yobe State Governor Mai-Mala Buni, in addition to seeking his perspective on the Igbo Presidency debate, which seems to have assumed a life of its own, especially since Governor David Umahi of Ebonyi State joined its ranks from PDP. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us on the morning show. Very quickly, well, let's start with the politics of Igbo Presidency. Governor Dave Umahi has now moved from PDP to APC, and that has ignited afresh that debate about the presidency going to the East in 2023. What's your position with regard to that? We just spoke with Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, and he was saying, look, we should stop talking about Igbo president or Yoruba president or Fulani president. All of us should be focusing on a president that will serve the interest of all Nigerians. What's your take?
Let me start by saying that His Excellency, Governor David Umahi's movement to the APC is a welcome development.
Of course.
Because he's reactivating the Zikist Ego Alliance. That was the tradition of where we are coming from. Because a lot of people do forget that in Igbo land, there are two tendencies. One is the Zikist tendency that believe in one indivisible country, that believes that the Igbos survive everywhere in Nigeria, and for the interest of the Igbos, all the nooks and crannies of the country should develop, that we need progress across the length and breadth of the country, because in whichever area of the country, if it's in Mubi, if it's good in Mubi, we'll be beneficiary. If it's good in Guzo, we'll be beneficiary. If it's good in Shaki, in Oyo State, we'll be beneficiary. If it's good in New Geb, in Calabar, we'll be beneficiary. That's the Zikist tendency. And I think that that's what His Excellency Umahi rekindled. And that was what we have been telling them. We told them that the Ikemba tendency is chipping away. It is in the fringe of the Igbo thinking. Because you cannot live in every part of the country, invest in every part of the country, and you're also saying, I'm going. So those tendencies in Igbo land, the Ikemba tendencies on a day declining. And we're happy that Umahi, and we're also expecting some of his colleagues from the information on the ground that some of his colleagues, don't forget that he's the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum. And the head cannot move without some of the followers or colleagues going with him. So we welcome that. On the issue of what my big brother Hakim was saying, I listened to him carefully. There are 2 points to the zoning convention. One is that the zoning started in 1999 when we commenced the Fourth Republic. And it was based on equity, natural justice, and good conscience. And it had paid off. He had paid off. I remember vividly how His Excellency Oboniono, the late Olushola Saraki and others were prevailed to step down in the APP. And later Karimi, Shinkafi and others, we also prevailed to, and later Alex Ekweme, we all stopped because we wanted to start with a zoning convention whereby there will be zoning or rotation of presidency between the North and the South. And we started then in the Southwest. In the 2000, after the completion of the 8 years by the then President Olusegun Obasanjo, the same zoning was reflected. The two major contenders then were the late Umaru Shehu Yar'Adua and the current president, President Muhammadu Buhari. So he had always paid. We are not saying it is the best, but it is the best in the circumstance. And out of the 6 geopolitical zones, 2 in the southern hemisphere had presided over the presidency of Nigeria since the zoning convention started. The South-South had done so, the Southwest had done so. It's only the Southeast that is left in the kitty. So if there is any iota of equity, justice, and good conscience left, I think it is the turn of the Southeast.
Thank you for that, sir. Now to the, now infamous visit by some APC governors to former President Goodluck Jonathan. Is it much ado about nothing, in your opinion, or is there more that we need to be reading into the relationship between the former president and the ruling party? The PDP would have us believe that it's the ruling party's apology for their years of misrule, which I'm sure you will disagree with, but I like your comments on that assertion by the PDP, and also your thoughts on the camaraderie that has grown between the former and the present president since that historical concession. What are your thoughts on the whole situation between the APC and JEJ?
I happen to be part of the membership of the party at the major level. And when we constructed the constitution of the APC, we made the broom our major emblem. And we said that all Nigerians, the best we'll do for us, if you are partisan, is please come to the APC so that we can sweep Nigeria clean. So if the former president, Jonathan, comes to the APC, I'll be one of those who will welcome him with open arms. But to the best of my knowledge, I have not heard that he had declared that he wants to join, that he's a member of the APC. But be that as it may, I think what the governors did is also in the interest of the growth of our democracy, in the interest of unity of the country. If you notice, they have shown that between the North and the South, the so-called division is not as wide, as polarized, as a lot of people are saying. So I welcome the development of the governors going to share solidarity with a former president. Not just a former president, a president with a remarkable achievement of being a patriot, a nationalist, and a Democrat of exception. Democrat and nationalist and patriotic in the sense that when he lost the election in 2015, he did not waste a blink an eye, and he considered defeats that also increased the Nigerian brand. Look at what is happening in America, one of our models. Because of the fact that President Trump, who lost an election, has refused to concede defeats, is tarnishing the American brand. But Jonathan upheld the banner and the brand of Nigeria in democracy. And that's why he had been invited across the continent and abroad. People eulogize him, and nobody can take away that from him. So if the leadership of my great party decides to woo him, I'll be one of those who welcome him if he comes.
You talked about the dichotomy between the North and the South not being so far off due to your political consideration. And I'm very happy that an APC man can say those glowing things about Goodluck Jonathan. I wish you said this in 2015 in the heat of the election would have made me more excited. But real quickly, you said the dichotomies were not so much. But This last NSAS protest threw up those dichotomies. Largely in the north, it was said that people protesting for their right wanted to change regime. And the SARS was good to them in the north, and there's no reason why SARS should be banned. And in the south here, it was a different case. So how will a peaceful protest here translate to a regime change? And you say the dichotomies are not that much because it's quite easy for everybody to say that in the name of politics now.
I was in my village a few days ago. A similar question was raised. And I advised some of those people, please go around the country. If you have the opportunity of going around this country, you have a different perspective. Your horizon will be broadened. That what we have suffered in the past 2 decades is growing unemployment. And wherever there is gross unemployment, especially in a population where the youth make more than 15%, if you're a discerning observer, it will be difficult to know that something must be done to give hope to the youths. And that is to say that in the far north, in the far south, we have problem in our hand. The problem of gross unemployment and under unemployment. That's where when some of us who get out of our kids, we tell them, please, let every of the youths not to look up to the white-collar job. That there's an agrarian revolution that President Muhammadu Buhari had triggered off. Please find a way to link up to that revolution, because those who depend on land will never go hungry. But if we say all of us must enter the Nigerian customs, must enter the Nigerian police, must become this, become that, and we leave the ground, we will miss all. So the issue of those who are saying the regime change or no regime change, the point of the matter is that when there is crisis on the ground, the tendency is for people to look for some cliche to throw to the public domain, so that at least when my colleagues in the media grab that, they will fashion it as if it's the issue. The issue is that we have a problem in our hand for the past 2 decades. That is the point of the matter. So anybody that tried to pontificate that is okay in his own region, where I came from a few days ago, if you know those who lined up with heart-rending demands, hospitalization, lack of school fees, hunger, you weep. And if you escape with a dime, it means you must have a very heavy heart. And I had the opportunity of going around the country. The Voice of Nigeria has stations across the country. Once in a while, I will be in different parts of the country. And in the evening of the day, I will walk down to the street to talk with the people. So let us all put heads together and know how best to get our youths engaged. How best to get our youths engaged. If we don't get our youths engaged, then the crisis will multiply.
Well, very quickly, I mean, you're a key player in the media space in Nigeria. And after the October 20 incident at the Lekki toll gate, we've seen the media being a major subject in an attempt to explain what exactly happened. 3 television stations were sanctioned by the Broadcasting Commission. We have had the Minister of Information having to take on the CNN. He has even now written formally to CNN to protest. And, journalists have been accused of promoting fake news. Now, I mean, if you were to have been in the shoes of the persons who have been reacting, what would have been your own reaction? What do you think would have been done differently? Do you think that the media played its part correctly and professionally, or you are on the side of those who accuse every journalist of being an author of fake news?
Coming from the public domain and the social science school, my own take is that the best we could do across the length and breadth of the country, going by the rule of law, most states had instituted judicial panel as demanded by law. And I will not be one of those who will jump into conclusions until those judicial panels had finished and submitted their reports. And probably the white paper will be released. And then while the panels are going on, what I might say this morning might be different from what will come out from the panel in Enugu or the one in Kaduna or the one in Lagos. So as a student of social sciences, the best bet is to allow the panels to unfold. By the time they close, quietly, let's watch the panels. Luckily, most of the panels, to the best of my knowledge, are open. I watch a lot of them. I watch witnesses that render their own grievances and their own tears over the SARS. And I take note of such commentaries. And for me now to come and say, look, CNN was wrong, NTA was wrong, Arise was wrong, Channels was wrong, Brandish AIT, TVC should go, I will be jumping the gun. And there is an Igbo aphorism that if you're in a marketplace, please don't conclude the market until the market is closed. So I do not think that the judicial panel is a waste of time, and I might not be correct to lay my own view without their conclusion. So please spare me the thoughts, and pray that we'll watch to the conclusion of the panels.
Well, the two words tenure extension tend to make us very nervous in Nigeria, so you might not be surprised to see some resistance to Governor Mai-Mala Buni's as chairman of the caretaker committee of the APC, getting some criticism for having failed to organize the national convention within the 6-month mandate that he was given. But what are your thoughts? Do you think there's something sinister afoot, as is being mooted by some quarters?
No, I do not think anything sinister is in the offing. What I know is that some individuals wanted to be chairman by December. And because of the task and terms of reference given to the His Excellency Buni's committee, for me, I've seen them do reconciliation. Anybody who thinks that the reconciliation will be a one-day affair is not sincere, or if the person forgets on how APC fell in the stock exchange from 25 states, grappling with 19, and the person thought that the damage that was executed by the regime then would be solved in one day. To be honest with you, if you tell me 12 months more for His Excellency Buni's committee, I don't mind, because I know the damage that was done. I know the antithesis that was created in a harmonious APC that is very difficult to pick the pieces. And I also understand that they have backed on one of the critical elements that we have advocated from day one, and in fact, which we could have concluded then, but it was smashed by the DSS in Lagos, biometric registration. Our leader, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, took all his resources, established a data center that could have accommodated all of us, but we suddenly forgot that it was smashed. But the SS would cook up stories. And the Bunu and Co had said, look, ladies and gentlemen of our great party, if you say we were 1,000 in Eke ward where Osita Okechukwu comes from, do they have biometric card? They don't. We want to be sure who are the members. So even for our own planning, if we are sure at the end of the day we have 11 million, 12 million, 20 registered APC members, that we could sit on a dashboard and locate where they are, their polling units, that helps us in the planning of our elections. And even we are talking of the youths. How do you know the number of youths that are registered in APC? In case you want to find a solution, and they want the charity to begin at home, we do not have such demographic. So for a lot of people that want to be chairman or secretary or treasurer, please be patient. Let's have the party first. And let's have a solid, organized political party. The APC is only 7 years old. If we don't organize on time, what happened to PDP will happen to us. So one of the organizations is to have a membership where we have demography and reference points. If you want the woman, you know who to look for. If you want the youths, you know who to look for. But today we do not have that. And I understand they have embarked on that. And I cherish that by the day I learned that Mr. President has also reinforced and supported them. I'm one of those. If it takes them 3 months or 12 to conclude these assignments, we cannot organize without knowing our numbers.
Okay.
Not knowing our numbers by guesswork, but by accurate biometric data.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Real quickly, the UK Parliament sat yesterday. They talked about what happened on the 20th of October, and they said sanctions will ensue. A lot of people spoke on that sitting yesterday. Kate Osamo, also another Nigerian lawmaker, Taiwo Owotemi, and the likes spoke yesterday as regards that, and they said very stern words. What's your reaction to all of that said at the UK Parliament?
No, my excitement first and foremost was that I could see that they were part of the system in the UK, which means that out of the colonialism, we have some merits that our people are there. But as I said earlier, I think that the UK Parliament, because they instituted what is called the common law, and it's under the common law that the judicial panel was emanated from. I thought the UK Parliament could have allowed the panels to finish, because whatever they reach, the conclusion they might reach today might be debunked by evidence that will emanate from the panels. And there's an Evidence Act. The same Evidence Act, more or less, in Britain is the same Evidence Act in Nigeria. They cannot get more evidence than the judicial panel. So I think they were trying to jump the gun, maybe because of the heat of the moment. But if I were a member of the UK Parliament, I would have said, the British High Commission in Nigeria, please pay attention to what's going on in the panels. Is the panel, judicial panel, are they transparent? Are they open? And if they're open, why don't you wait for them to conclude?
Well, thank you very much, Osita Okechukwu, Director General, Voice of Nigeria, for joining us and for your insights. Thank you very much indeed.